Good morning. Today I would like to speak to you about something that's very important to me and should be to millions and millions of other native British people that were born here. Yes, it covers immigration. Yes, it covers the Labour government. But we delve into things that go a lot deeper than just the Labour government and the immigration problem that we now face now. And I say face it, it's going to go on for many years. Let me explain. The Labour government are made up of Fabians. Fabians are the traitors to Britain. In over 100 years, they've been planning the destruction of Britain, the destruction of our way of life. It's not a conspiracy theory anymore. It's provable. If you look at the mainstream media, you won't see any of this because the mainstream media now is just propaganda channels run by this government and the previous government. They're both to blame. The Conservative government under Boris Johnson, if they hadn't done such an awful job in power, we wouldn't be run by a Labour government at the moment. But this is where it comes unstuck. Tony Blair, under the last Labour government, put things in place knowing full well that one day there would be a Labour government. I don't think he thought it would come in his lifetime. But unfortunately, it has. It was elected in on 9 million votes. Keir Starmer was the big hopeful person that was going to turn things around. He's a liar. He always has been. His own sister said he used to make things up when he was a school child. He hasn't changed. He was a mummy's boy then, and he's a weak, cowardly person now. Then we get Andy Burnham, who comes in as an ex-mayor, ex-MP, but now he's running the country. And what does Andy Burnham do? What does he do about the invasion of Britain? What does he do to stop the boats? Absolutely nothing. We have a Cobra meeting on the climate crisis, the global heat that we're seeing on this lovely summer, beautiful summer. We had one in 75, 76. But now all of a sudden, when the temperatures go up, we're not ready for it. Well, we could have been ready for it in 75. We knew that we needed more reservoirs then, but the government did nothing. They'd rather spend money by giving it away overseas in overseas aid to places that don't need it. Countries that have nuclear weapons, countries that have third and fourth largest armies in the world, countries that still, and I'm sorry to say this, defecate, they shit in the streets. They pollute their rivers. They throw lorry loads of rubbish into rivers because it's their way of getting rid of it. They don't follow laws. They're not the same as us. We are a law-abiding, mostly nation in the West. Why are we allowing so many people that don't believe in our values, that say they're coming from war-torn areas, which is a lie? Egyptians, they're not at war. So why have we got so many coming here across on boats? Most of Africa are not at war. So why are we getting most of them coming? These are economic migrants, but this is the rub of all this. They're not economic migrants at all. They're being funded by the institution that we used to belong to, the EU and the World Economic Forum, and people like George Soros, and people like Larry Fink from BlackRock Bank, and people like, you guessed it, Bill Gates. The person that decides he's going to cool the world by sending jets across with chemicals that he releases into the air. This is the same person that said on numerous times we need to cut the global population down with vaccines. He's actually said it. He's on camera saying it. We need to cut it down by 10 or 15%. Vaccines can do this. Why? Because AI, we won't need so many people. We won't need so many labourers. We won't need, as the Fabians say, if you go back long enough, we don't need the working classes. We need a few, but we don't need the millions that we have in each country. They are trying to kill us. And this is not a theory. They are trying to kill us. COVID was the first thing. Not COVID itself. I had COVID twice and got over it. It gave me a natural immunity, like it is with many things that you catch when you're a child or even a young adult, and even a middle-aged adult, and a young or vibrant person can fight this off. And I agree. And the older you get, the harder it becomes. But I decided, and my family decided, not to have the COVID jab. The best thing we could have done. Everyone we know that had the COVID jab have developed some sort of side effects, something that's exacerbated a pre-existing illness, and cancer's on the rise. So we made our own decision, an informed decision, and yet we were shunned by work colleagues, people that say, oh, you must have it, but we stuck to our guns. That's what my family are, thinkers. We might not be overly educated. We haven't gone to Cambridge or Oxford or places like this, but we are thinkers. We are part of the working classes that Bill Gates, Larry Fink and George Soros want to kill off. And even Tony Blair, he's part of this. And he put things in place when he was leader of this country. He put judges, he put police, he put people on councils, all in the right place to control. And that's what it's all about. Control, control, control. And then we have Andy Burnham, who calls a Cobra meeting over the global crisis. He actually sends a message out on the emergency band on your phones, which I didn't sign up for, but I still got it. And he sends it out, and what's his answer? We are going to ban disposable barbecues. Is this man bloody insane? He's using schoolboy fixes, cheap fixes, to brainwash the people that he knows what he's doing. The man's a bloody idiot. He's one of the same. He's a Fabian. He's part of the Labour government that are trying to destroy this country. I've seen a video today. Someone from America went over to Russia, where we're supposed to have sanctions against Russia. They'd done some grocery shopping. In America, it would have cost $400. In Russia, and they bought the same stuff that you can buy in any Western supermarket, cost $104. So how are sanctions against Russia helping? All it's helping is to keep inflation high, to take money out of the working man and woman's pocket, to literally make families buy cheaper food, which quite honestly is tainted. There are a lot of products out there that will cause cancer, and they know this. This isn't a conspiracy theory yet again. This is a fact. Things are happening that are trying to cut us down as a population in every country, funded by the EU, the World Economic Forum, George Soros, Larry Fink at BlackRock, and Bill Gates. These people, you've got people like van der Leyen, an unelected official who's complete nutcase, who's committed fraud. We now have a person in the Labour government that was literally thrown out, resigned from the government for fraud. Now she's back in. And when Burnham went on an overseas visit, she was in charge, a fraudster in charge. We now have the Labour government saying you won't be able to look at ministers' criminal records. Why? Why do they get a special get out of jail free card for a job? This is ridiculous. Now, I don't believe in civil war, but it is coming. It is coming. And that's not a theory. We can all feel it. We know what's happening. When you back a people into a corner and you give them no way out, they will fight. That's inevitable. Absolutely inevitable. How does peace come about? How did it come about in World War I and World War II? Through war. That is the only way to get peace. What is the problem here? Is it the invasion? Well, yes, that's part of the problem. But I've got nothing against a person's colour of their skin. I've got nothing against their skills. If they come to a country, they've got a job, they've got a skill set, they can add to that country, they can assimilate into that country. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. What I have got a problem with is Islam. When Islam wants to come in and take over, invade, change our way of life, change our culture, yes, I have a major problem with Islam. Because the book that they are taught from a very, very early age, in my opinion, is a terrorist manual. And the way the Labour government are protecting these people is quite perverse. That's the word, perverse. When you have the Welsh Council actually did a video with 12-year-old girls literally saying to people, come to Wales, come to this country. You know, I mean, what are they doing? Are they parading these 12-year-old little girls out on camera, sending the wrong message out to people that are either uneducated or just perverts? And I've got to look at why the Labour government have covered up so much on rape crimes, knife crimes, on murders. It's happening every day. There's 150 churches in Canada alone that have been set alight. Now, it's only happened since we've got the invasion. Now, you don't have to be a rocket science to work this out. It's organised. It's not just happening. They don't spontaneously ignite. Someone's doing it. And we know the problem. It's not Muslims. It's the way of life they follow, Islam. That is the problem. It's evil. It has to be stopped. In 1091, there was a crusade, and it went on for years. And the church was behind it because they had seen attacks on the Christian faith for many years. Enough was enough, and the crusades were formed. And out of that came peace. And this is what I'm saying. From war comes peace eventually. It doesn't happen overnight. I don't want it to happen. I'm not saying it's got to happen, but it's inevitable. We can all feel it. And this Labour government are doing nothing to stop the boats. They're actually literally making it easier for these people to come here, to fly in. Now, on one way, you could say, well, if they fly in, they have to show a passport. We know who they are. That's not a bad thing, but we're still bringing in thousands that are unskilled people. Why do we need these unskilled people? I was on a site the other day where they're going to be building for the next 2 years. They've sold 2 houses. The prices of these houses are so high, you think, my God, it might cost 200,000 to build this house. Why is it selling at 570? It's literally pricing people out the property market. Why? Because they're backed by pensions, which the government say, if you back the pensioners, we put people in there, we will pay the rent, you're going to make money. That's fine if it happens, but what happens when a government runs out of money? Then the pension people don't get their money back, pensions fail, the government run out of money. We're in a mess of crap in this country. Now, this is happening all over the country. These houses are being built, and normal people, native people born and bred in Britain are not getting these houses. They're moving in immigrants, and it's happening right the way across the country. And I will say, in Labour constituencies, the immigration problem isn't a problem because there's only 50 here and 80 there. But in places where you have Reform councils or Conservative councils or even Liberal Democrat councils, you are seeing high numbers of illegal immigrants being housed there. There was one village that I heard of the other day, 350 people in a village, and they're moving 1,270 illegal immigrants into a village. What the hell is going on? We know what's going to happen. It's inevitable what's going to happen. When children go missing, when children are raped, when there's fights in the streets between one faction and another of these illegal immigrants, I mean, this is going to happen. It's happened already. It's going to happen if you put large numbers of men in an area with nothing to do, walking around all day. What sort of life are these little people going to have that have lived in these houses for years? 350 against 1,270. It's ridiculous. It's got to stop. But it won't stop under a Labour government. And Nigel Farage under reform, I used to believe in. But if he will not come to an understanding with Rupert Lowe and put aside his own little feelings for the good of the country, then that says a lot about Nigel Farage. Rupert Lowe can't do it on its own. He cannot change this overnight. There's no magic bullet to this. It's going to be years of austerity and millions of mass deportations. That's the only thing that we can do. In Japan, they've limited it. They're actually starting destroying mosques. They've actually limited the number. Sweden the other day have actually passed a law now to say, right, no benefits for any illegals. And literally they've left the country because they're not getting free handouts. They're not getting free accommodation. They're not getting free money, free food. They're getting nothing. And it was literally Keir Starmer that passed a law here by beating it in court to say that they're entitled to benefits. Well, Sweden, part of the EU, they've said they're signed up to human rights, but they're saying, no, we're not going to pay illegals benefits. And they're leaving the country. But where do you think they're heading for? They're heading for Britain. We are going to see 100 to 150,000 and more per year pouring into Britain because Germany are tightening up. Everywhere in the EU are tightening up. We're out the EU, but these idiots still insist that we're in the ECHR, that we still will take these people. These are not economic migrants. There have been reported time and time again of mass boats coming across the channel with some women in, and they've thrown them overboard to make room for more men. These people are not like us. They don't understand our laws. They don't want to integrate. Diversity is another word for invasion. It's got to stop. Now, I pull no punches here because basically it has to stop. And the only way, in my opinion, that it's going to stop is, as I've said, war brings peace eventually. It's not what I want. It's not what the people want of Britain. They want a normal life, but the government aren't listening. The police go around like the Nazi stormtroopers because they've got Sir Mark Rowley telling them what to do, who in turn has the hand up his backside from Sadiq Khan pulling the strings, and then we have the judges locking people up. It's wrong. And this, if we haven't got enough prisons, bloody well build some more. Because if the Chinese can build 1,000-bed hospital in 10 days, when we had the supposed COVID, which did originate in Wuhan, and it was literally by that horrible little man in America that was funding it, Fauci, who went before Congress because Biden gave him a pardon, but that doesn't mean to say he can hide behind the Fifth Amendment. And people are going to pin this guy to the wall, and he needs it because this guy has murdered many, many people with something that he funded in the Wuhan laboratories. But the Chinese, when it got out, built 1,000-bed hospital in 10 days. Why the hell can't we build prisons as quick or even in a couple of months? And we're building houses all over the place. We're letting criminals out on the street. Build more prisons. That's the answer. Lock them up, get them off the streets, and get them to serve their time. You could be locked up for tweets like this on the internet for telling the truth. Freedom of speech is our fundamental right. When a government do not listen to the people, as it did in the revolution in France, that's what happens. I don't want it to happen. I want things to change normally. but it's not being listened to by this government. And Andy Burnham is a complete and utter wanker. And that's all there is to it. The Labour government are not a socialist government. How many on the front bench are millionaires? We are being run by a corrupt, literally amateur government who haven't got a hope in hell of stopping the boats. They want them here. The EU are funding it and they want them here. They're going to crash the economy. We are near enough bankrupt. We collect 31 billion in taxes. We spend 33. We're not even covering the interest on the loans that we've had. Each month we're loaning 15 million, 17 billion. It goes up all the time. And sorry, it's not millions, it's billions. I get so confused because basically millions at one time, you think, oh my God, that's a lot of money. Now they speak in billions. It's now going to be trillions soon. We're in so much debt. It has to stop. The men and women of Britain are getting ready, and they need to, because things are going to get worse. Thank you for listening to my video.